Okay, welcome to the altcoin review. Let's look at some of these coins that we trade. So let's look at tier. So tier on the weekly chart, it's looking quite weak, but we had a pink candle, so we were expecting us to come back down, and we've exceeded the pink candle. I think we potentially end up coming into this box for tier. So we could come all the way to here, 204, 205. I don't know whether we'll get there. I think on balance, I would expect us to test this here to here as the initial point, and then potentially get some support and go up. If I go on to like the 12-hour chart, and you can see, so here there's liquidity sitting here at this base here. There is a pink candle here that potentially can be exceeded at 222. So we could potentially come into this zone, break this zone, and maybe go slightly lower, like 218, something like that, or even double bottom 214, and then continue going up. So that's what I'll be expecting on tier. Based off the weekly chart and also based on the 4 hours, I think here it's a very good place. And I think we can do a double bottom here, or we go slightly lower here. So that's what I'm expecting on tier. Let's move on to the next one. Let's move on to dot. So Polkadot on the weekly chart as well, we can see that there's a bit of liquidity at the bottom here. I don't think we get there. I think last week this was my area of interest. No, I think I drew this yesterday from yesterday's video. So I think we potentially will test this, and maybe it could come all the way into here as well, into the three here, that zone. So this becomes our area of interest for Polkadot, and it'll be a great place to kind of bounce off. Or it may go slightly lower. It can also go slightly lower as well, but it will only just be slightly lower. So that's Polkadot. Let's move on to the next one. Let's move on to AAVE. So AAVE is looking quite positive on the weekly chart. I don't think we're going to erase this whole candle this week. I think best case scenario, it's looking really strong. This is a strong chart. Um, let's get this here. Sorry, get this here. I think we could come and test this point here on AAVE. Could be an area of interest for me, but Aave certainly is looking really strong. If you go on the daily chart, you can see it's sitting in a very strong position. We just had the golden cross on it, so of course you tend to pull back. So coming back into this zone, which is the area I've drawn, probably is about right, and then we continue to go up. Let's move on to Pepe. So Pepe, we've had that stopping candle, and we had a pink candle, so we've exceeded that. It's come already into my area of interest. We are having there's going to be a golden cross, so I think area one is being touched, and I think this potentially will be touched. This area will be touched. This 11 to 10 zone becomes an area of interest, I think, for me. So this area becomes an area of interest. It's also possible that it can come all the way down here to 8. So, and that, those are the zones that I think Pepe is more likely to hit before we continue the bull run. So that is Pepe for you. Let's move on to the next one. Say, so Say is also looking good. Now, yeah, so Say's area of interest for a pullback potentially could be here, right? Could come right back to the base. So back into that base there, could be area of interest for the pullback. So that's what I'll be watching on, say. It'll be a great place to buy. Let's move on to render. So render is also looking on the weekly chart. We got a bit of a pullback on it. I think we've been rejected of the 50. So most likely this becomes in my area of interest. this becomes my area of interest. So around the $2 mark. So it could be here, $2, $2 mark could be an area of interest. We may not get there, but I think, you know, even if we don't get there, then I think we are looking like somewhere like this as the area of interest. So in somewhere in this box is where price will fall, and then we continue going up. Um, let's look at Maker, sorry, Maker. So Maker on the weekly chart is also looking good. We had a red candle last week, and we are kind of pulling back. My area of interest on this is going to be here. It's going to be this point here, where area of interest for us to pull back to, and then we can continue going up. We may not even get here. It may well be that we just, you know, come back a little bit into the wick here. So let's put another area of interest here. It could be we just test this that box and then continue. But if that fails, then so you can buy some here, you can buy some there. So buy a percentage here. It will definitely go up some more. Go on the daily chart, you can see how that's panning out. So there's a bit of liquidity here, which they can come for, and there is also liquidity sitting somewhere here. So those are the two main areas of interest. And then you've got CRV. So CRV, there is divergence on it. So between here and here on the daily chart. So we're coming down. I think we'll come down into these zones here. And if yeah, I wouldn't expect us to break the 200. I think we'll come to the bottoms here. So here, between here and here, that becomes the area of interest for me. Somewhere there, price will fall back in there and continue to go up. So that is CRV. And then let's move on to hype. So hype is looking really good, but I think there's a problem on hype because we had a stopping candle, and then we've kind of pushed up slightly above it on the daily chart. Um, and the RSI is still very, very overstretched. It's somewhere around 84, but it's still higher. So, it's gone higher. So, we are also outside the KC channel. So we are definitely in a strong position with this one. We are in a strong position. So if I go to 4 hours and look at what's happening on the 4 hour chart, so long as this 4 hours, closes like this, then potentially you'll go higher rather than continue going down. But there's a divergence between here, this point, and that point. You see where RSI is. There's a divergence. See where MACD is. There's a divergence. So yeah, so it could come down, but I think it's not done. And the reason why I think it's not done is this is our peak, our first peak really of RSI, and normally you're going to have about two or three, even four sometimes, where the RSI is low and the price keeps going up. So long as this closes green, I think we'll go up some more. So it's looking good. This is a really strong chart. And then let's look at meme coins. There's a few meme coins I want to touch on. So there's quite a few of them. I'm not going to look at all of them because there's quite a lot. Let's look at Moonpig. So Moonpig, it's not looking good at all. It's not looking good on the chart. I think it's going to come all the way back down to this point here. I think you're looking at this area of interest here on Moonpig. I don't think it's looking that great at all. It's not looking great. And then Myro is also in a weak territory. We are below the 50 EMA, so it's not looking good. I mean, I think this one will potentially come all the way back down and test here, which would be, I'll just put it here. This zone here becomes an area of interest here. So you could have something like that. And then let's look at PopCat. PopCat is also not looking too great. This is not looking great. If you look on the weekly chart, this is not looking great. Could we be coming all the way back down here? I'm not so sure. Um, but certainly it's not a healthy looking chart. I think we definitely come into this candle for sure. So that's an area of interest for me on that one. XPX 500 is also looking strong. This is a strong looking chart. If you close green like this, I think potentially we may pull back into this zone here. We could pull back into this zone and continue going up. Let's look at fat coin. So fat coin on the weekly chart, so you can see volume going down, 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 price going up. That's not great. So if we go on the daily chart, I think this zone will be tested on fat coin. I think you will have a potential pullback to this zone here, to this zone here before we continue going up. Let's look at Trump. So Trump on the week daily, this daily chart, they've had their dinner. We seem to have a kind of a double top or something like that, almost a double top. So I think this thing will probably end up coming all the way back down. Let's go into the 4 hour chart and look at the 4 hour chart. Yeah, it's going to come all the way back down to this point here. I think you would get a bit of a move to this area. And if it doesn't hold, then we'll be coming back to base. Bonk. Bonk is also looking good, but I think it will come down some more. I think we can expect the price to come all the way into here. We can expect price to come all the way into here before we go up. And then we've got, I think we already covered Pepe, peanuts. Again, that is also most likely to come into the zone before we go up. And then Moondig, very similar. I think we'll test these bottoms here. I think we'll test these bottoms, this area before we go up. If we don't hold this, then we're coming all the way back to base. Goat. Goat is another one that will have this area to contend with. Will be an area for it to contend with before we start going up again. And then let me have a quick look at Boba. So Boba on the weekly chart had a very strong green candle, and we seem to be being rejected. Let's look on the daily, see what's going on there. We're still above the 50. So there's more upside above this candle. There's definitely more upside above that candle, but I think potentially this zone of liquidity will be tested before we go up. That zone of liquidity, even into back into the zone here, can be tested easily before we go up. So that's all the altcoins that I want to have a look at. So I wish you all the best.